The congressional state of affairs of a soulful consciousness is often of a soulful template of its own. It allows its own true self to reign so well from within and gain in its magnitude of light just as its own. So of course, when an illuminative idea of self-contentment beholds one's own true self-expression, one is then into its own true self just as its own and as it is. So of course, when a soul so well decides to bring forward towards the allness a new soulful perspective of its own, one is then in full revealed stature just as its own, and most certainly just as it is. So in this incandescent soulful behavioralshipness, we are then all into allowance of light just as its own, and in co-configurative ideas of self-creativity just as it is. So indeed, when one is of soulful contemplatory effect, one is then in full alignment of the totality of its soulful consciousness just as its own, and in full effect just as it is. So let us contemplate this whole effect of each one of us all singularly and in full effect, so as to fully bring about the totalitarian optimum like compositum we can also well compose all together as one soulful consciousness just as its own and as it is. So indeed we are of light in full complexity of soulful consciousness, here and there, about in full expression, in full ways of self-understood. So of course we fully understand its whole role-playing effect, for we are participants of this into its own and into its own lightening effect just as it is. And so of course we are all soulfully navigating towards a rendezvous of self-conception where all shall fully realize towards the whole its own true magnificence just as its own and as it is. I am PS in full revealed matter, so as to bring forward a true magnificence just as its own and as it is, of course, of texturing effect throughout the all, in its own true source felt perspective as it is.